when you see a single otter in an area, maybe just outside of a raft. It could be most likely a female and pup raft, and that is usually a male that might be seeking out a female, so a female that's in estrus. So generally you'll see, because males are territorial, you will just generally see one otter, or maybe a couple of otters in a raft area where there's females and pups, and they usually stay on the outskirts, and then when a female is ready, then you'll kind of go in there quickly and then come back out. But it is possible for a female. There is a great surrogate program that happens at the Monterey Bay Aquarium, where they have surrogate mothers that take care of orphan pups that come in. So it's something that's been done in captive situations. In the wild, of course, we've never seen that. So
kind of difficult to tell.
Yeah, it's very likely that they would.
Can you give us a little bit of a background on that, on the microplastics study, and then just kind of how it's going right now?
Yeah, so we have been investigating microplastics here at the Seattle Aquarium for about 3 years. We've been just primarily looking at the microplastics in our incoming water that feeds all of our exhibits here at the aquarium. So we're looking at it pre-filter and post-filter. So we figured out that methodology, and then we met with a student at Oregon State University, Jennifer Van Brockman, and she was really interested in starting a study of sea and river otters to see what the level of microplastics were in them. And we said, great, we'd love to help you, because we have these beautiful sea otters at our aquarium, and we can test what we're feeding them as far as microplastics load, and then what the sea otter is pooping out. And that gives us an indirect measurement of the difference in between, and also what our sea otters are exposed to, not only in the food that they eat, but like I said, we're already measuring the incoming salt water that they're swimming around in. So we started partnering with Jennifer, and so she collects both representative food items from our that we feed the animals, as well as food samples from both our sea otters and our river otters, because they have different trophic systems. So the river otters are primarily fish eaters, and the sea otters are primarily invertebrate eaters. So we wanted to see what the difference was. She's getting samples from the aquarium, but then she's also getting representative samples from sea and river otters in the wild, both in California and in Alaska. And we're assisting her with the more controlled sampling, so the controlled feeding and the controlled elimination, so to speak, at the aquarium. And with a generous grant from SOF, we were able to actually buy a clean room to process these samples in. And we actually just received the clean fuel hood last week. We're putting it together right now, and we'll be able to start processing some of the sea otter food and sea otter fecal samples here at the aquarium for Jennifer's project. And that's really going to help us with insights not only of what the animals are exposed to here at the aquarium, but also the differences between these animals that live here in a more controlled environment and that in the wild. But most people know that microplastics are everywhere. It's in our water, it's in the air, it's in the food. And so this is why we had to have this really clean environment, this clean room hood to process the samples in. And I did talk to Jennifer recently. She is shut out of her lab at Oregon State University right now because of the COVID-19 situation. But luckily, we're able to still work on microplastics here at the Seattle Aquarium at a reduced rate. So we're setting up that clean room, and we're going to start processing those samples shortly, and we'll have some more information about that. But she did tell me she had done processed some of the archived poop samples that we have from our sea otters that we have in our freezer, because we've been looking at sea otter poop for 20 years, believe it or not, because we've been interested in their reproductive biology, and we didn't want to get a blood sample to figure out what they were doing as far as breeding, things like that, or if they were pregnant, or if they were ready to become pregnant. We wanted something else. So they eat a lot, they poop a lot, so we grabbed the poop sample and we extracted it for hormones. We still have that leftover poop that we can look at microfibers in, plastics. So she's been looking at that, and she did find that there's about 2 to 3 microfibers per gram of poop. And that may not sound like a lot. And these are primarily black pieces of fragments and fibers that is probably coming from the clams that they're eating because they're filter feeders. But when we look at the water, we're seeing about 0.2 microfibers per gram of water or per milliliter of water. In other words, in 1,000 milliliters, we're seeing about 200 fibers. So the sea otters here have about 10 times what we would find in a water sample, but again, that's because they're eating filter feeders. And we don't know the impact that has on their health. There's other work being done on how these microplastics might affect fish physiology. From what we can see, these animals are extremely healthy. They're living longer than any sea otter in the wild. So we don't think they're suffering any health effects from these microplastics in their food and in their feces. But we don't know. Right. So we wanted to get an idea of what the level of the problem is. Yeah. And have some preliminary data, but it's really, we just started. Gotcha. Thanks to your grant, we can really ramp it up.
Yeah. Hi. Hey, Tracy. So we got a question about the Seattle Aquarium